Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. With your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Thursday pre-market prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, and Dennis Dick with you for another exciting day. Hope you all survived the great meltdown, the great bear market of 2021. Lasted for like 40 minutes or an hour yesterday. We'll talk about that. Buy the dip works again. We've got a couple of earnings on our radar. We got some high-flying, low-price stocks on our radar. So a lot to get to. It's just a continuation of the same theme. The high flyers, the lower-price stocks are moving. The mega caps are really not. And that's just how it's been, and that's just how it's going to be until it's not anymore. So our guest today is Buck Andrews. He's the co-founder of Inform. Today's show is also sponsored by Inform. Their enterprise news productivity tool is designed to enable you to perform more thorough stock research by isolating the specific articles and headlines that are most impactful to your portfolio. To learn more, go to inform.info. It's IN4M, the number 4. It's on the screen there. .info. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, do what you do. Let's bring Joel on now. Joel, how are we doing in the pre-market session?
Doing well, Spencer. Good morning. We're up 11 handles at 39.14. A little overnight dip to 38.95. We rebounded as high as 39.1850. Crude 9-day winning streak in jeopardy here, down 41 cents at 58.27. Gold holding up in the mid $1,800 handle, up $2.50 at 18.4520. Silver joining the rally, that's up 15 cents at 27.24. And Bitcoin getting a little bank love, that's up $2,175 at 47,090. We're talking about the futures. Triple D, did you have any circuit breakers go off yesterday? Were we a full out alarm?
When the crash happened?
Oh, Jesus. I was hiding under my desk.
I was actually on the phone with a reporter when it started going down. And I was like, I gotta go buy the dip. That's a joke, actually. But the buy the dip works again. I mean, we sold off about 30 points in, it felt like about 4 minutes. I know it was a little longer than that, but it felt like it was pretty fast. This is what happens. You're in the bull markets and you're going to see these violent little sell-offs as people, start paying, oh, this is it, I got to lock in my profits. And then they buy the dip again. I don't know what to say on this overall market. It's a very confusing market. I am a little bit nervous. Not so much that we're overinflated, but there's so much mania around these small caps that, we've been talking about it for a while. The mega caps, are getting forgotten. We're seeing certain sectors like utilities and staples getting actually sold so that money can fly into sundial growers or the latest pot stock. I mean, you've got the mania going so much. People are like, I don't want to be in Campbell's soup right now. I don't want to be in Coca-Cola when I can go get in sundial and make, double my money in 2 days. So, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, it's working. The penny stocks are working very, very well. I mean, I've been playing around with a few of the penny stocks as well, and they're doing really good. I don't know, when the party ends, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe Reddit can just keep the party going. They just keep moving from house to house to house or from stock to stock to stock. And that's what we've kind of seen. I mean, they've left all the short squeeze stocks. If you look at GameStop and you look at AMC and you look at Revlon and you look at, the list of 60 stocks that we were talking about, almost all of those stocks are kind of right back to where they started. So they came in, had the party, squeezed the hell out of them, squeezed the life out of them, and then they just came back to where they were. I mean, GameStop isn't quite down to where it was, but I mean, the majority of the gains are gone. So at the end of the day, you got to be careful. You know, if you're the last person chasing and the party, you know, the cops show up to the party to break it up. Not necessarily, that's maybe a bad example because it wasn't regulation, but you know, that's gonna be an issue for you if you're the last person there. It's like hot potato. All these stocks are a hot potato because for the most part, a lot of these companies are still trash. But you know, you get in these, get the momentum going, and the breakout traders get in there, and the algos getting there, momentum ignition algos get in there, and the party can go for quite a bit. So, I mean, momentum is working until it doesn't.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of different participants in the market. Going in to see these moves and the capital moving around. So it's just it's really a confluence of different things that are contributing to it. But you know, you have to trade what's in front of you, what you see in front of you, and there's some good price action across the board here, from cryptocurrencies to marijuana. I mean, earnings. I mean, we don't talk about Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google. I mean, there's other returns in the market, and people are going where the quick returns are.
I mean, we you know, and this is we aren't even talking about earnings, like you said. You know, we're not focused. This was a mega cap market for a decade. So is this the small caps turn? Is this the penny stocks turn? Penny stocks, you know, there's always the odd penny stock that's having its day, but the majority of them are all junk usually. But right now, I'm telling you, across the board, they're just looking for penny stocks. So I don't know if we're early innings. I don't know if we're late innings. I don't know if Reddit started a whole new movement here that it's all going to be about penny stocks going forward. And maybe they're not going to want it, you know, being the Amazons. Like, I mean, you look at Amazon, blows the quarter away.
Absolutely.
The firing on all cylinders, and the stock doesn't move. It doesn't care. I own Amazon. I mean, I like owning good companies, but right now you're being punished for owning quality. You're being rewarded for owning trash. And that's could continue for a while. So you've got to be cognizant of that. I mean, I'm not jumping in here and buying the dip on Amazon yesterday. You got to look at, you know, the other Momo names. Those are the ones you're buying the dip. And there's, you know, some growth is still working too. Like Kathy, stocks are still working. You know, growth at any cost is working. It's like if you've got a solid cash flow, stable business, they don't want that. And they're classifying Amazon as that now. Even though Amazon's growing like crazy, they don't care. They're looking at where can I make 50% on my money next week, not 50% on my money in the next couple of years. So it's a greedy market right now. That greed is going to continue until, you know, a lot of people get hurt. So, I mean, I guess you just got to play, you know, what's moving. So, you know, we can talk some of these smaller stocks. That's what the chat wants to talk is Sundial. They want to talk all these smaller stocks. I mean, it's an incredible move. I've traded this a little bit, like just playing around with it, but definitely not making 60% overnight. So congratulations to those who hold. Jokingly, I was saying to my buddy just at Bright Trading, it was like $3.20 last night. And I'm like, I don't know, it's went through 250. It's probably going to 5. I mean, that's the next logical stopping point, you know, because you think about 250 gets you 5, the whole Kenny Glick theory. I mean, I don't know if it hit 5 this morning, but it's 442. I'm kicking myself for not buying it.
Yeah, did just stop just shy of $5. I mean, still early in the day, early in trading, 487. That marks your pre-market high. Not quite a double yet, but liquidity coming into the issue, and it got going from 50 cents, $1.50, and here we are trading at 440, 445. Some of these stocks yesterday too, it was interesting where you had the reversal, but then they came back. And you know, when you have a reversal like that and you come back and you finish near the highs for the session, that tells you something. And I was referring to Tilray. We talked about that late in the day yesterday.
It was an incredible sell-off, and you think that's it, but it's like GameStop all over again. Just when you think that the buying is done, they find another wave comes in, and that's what we saw in Tilray as well. I mean, that was an incredible fall. And, you know, you talk about that fall, you know, and the sell-off in the overall market. I mean, we were up at $67, and we fell to 47 in a half an hour. I mean, this is an incredible fall. And then, boom, it gets it all back. So just when you think, okay, that was it. That was upside capitulation. I tweeted out, you know, a day later, you're like, there's another wave coming in. So that's what you get waves. Like, I mean, trading in all stocks is waves to a certain extent, but you get in these penny stocks, it's really like waves, like where you get this rush of buyers, and then, you know, you get the sellers a little bit, you know, taking profits, you know, people getting caught. Oh, I'm caught, you know, it's the time I'm getting out. And then you get the next wave come in, and then, you know, and it's, I always say, you want to be buying on those dips. You find those uptrends and buying on those dips and buying on those dips. But, you know, I like to still, you know, I trade big caps, I trade mega caps, you know, and obviously I'm not making 200% overnight on any stocks here. I know some people, you know, like we saw Trader Stu there on Twitter, who's a great follow. He tweets out, well, you know, I like making, you know, 10-20% gainers as opposed to 200% gainers. And I'm like, well, I like 102% gainers going the other way. Take it to even more of an extreme, or you know, 1,000.2% gainers. That's the kind of the way I trade. I'm just picking up pennies, nickels, and dimes, you know, and sometimes a little bit more than that. But, you know, you're looking at momentum. But these penny stocks, I've never been a penny stock trader since like 1996. So it's kind of out of my wheelhouse. But I mean, you can trade anything technically. And if you are trading the stuff, it's the waves. So, but eventually that one wave will come down, and then you're like, okay, now I'm in trouble. And that's how, you know,
tidal wave.
I don't want to.
You just gotta watch out for the, you know, you can surf, you can, you know, go up and down and stuff, but tidal wave. And how app is, you know, when you on our introduction, I'll buy this stock for a penny, and boy, oh boy,
penny stock market. Like, we are in the middle of FOMO running.
Hey, can I jump in here with a stat?
Yeah, of course.
Anytime.
So full disclosure, I haven't verified this, but this is just a stat that I've seen. I'm seeing internally on Benzinga, and I've seen it on Twitter as well. And we definitely discussed this on our stream yesterday. Yeah. There are only two stocks that trade on the NASDAQ and the NYSE that are under $1. Two.
That can't be right.
But what you just spent 10 minutes talking about how we're in a penny stock market, and they're all going up.
Well, I know everything just works. I mean, every stock has been running here.
So
I bought a couple of these things, and I can't even believe, you know, like, you know, that the moves that these things are having. But I can't believe that there's only a couple that are under $1. I'll run a scan for that.
Here. I'll give you the
go. What are the two stocks?
Yeah, don't say them.
Give them to you.
Don't say them.
Give them to you.
Don't say them.
You want me to give them to you?
I don't want them to give them to you. We can say it. We're not in it. I'll tell you, they're right there. It's DNN and GSV, and they're right there. DNN,
yeah,
GSV. I looked at this GSV yesterday just because I was like looking through trying to find what hadn't gone. I didn't buy any, but I don't know. That can't be right. I mean, I've got to go run the scan myself. I can't believe that that's right. But maybe it is. So I mean, yesterday, you know, when I didn't verify the information, I obviously misspoke, and maybe we could just take it to some correction with Robinhood, because it was originally reported, like on CNBC, and you saw the report too, Spencer, so you could stay with me on this, that it sounded like Vlad was going to be for the transaction tax, the financial transaction tax. So we don't know what Vlad's position is. That's the bottom line. And it would be absurd to think he's for it. That's why I was so pissed off yesterday. I was like, how can that be? So, and the CNBC article headline even read like that. I was like, how can that be? Well, it's not. That's the case. I'm pretty sure it's not. I tried to reach out to Vlad. I actually tweeted a tweet just saying there's no way. Like, you're just thinking about it, you know, logically. There's no way he's for the trans. It would be big time trouble for retail brokers. And he liked my tweet when I said that. So he did my tweet, so he read it. So I don't think he would like my tweet if he wasn't, you know, if I wasn't on to that. So bottom line is Vlad is not going to try to blow up his own company here with a financial transaction tax. He's going to be against this. I'm going to predict right now. He hasn't officially said it, but I will predict right now and take back what I said yesterday about Robinhood, because it was CNBC reporting, and I was like, whoa, that cannot be right. But I thought, you know, I'm like, that's absurd. So I'll take back that part of it. Everything I said about the financial transaction tax, correct, but it does look like Robinhood will be against it. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But, you know, the financial transaction tax, I mean, when you see the speculation running rampant, you've got to be scared of that to a certain extent, because your regulators are looking at this and saying, you know, some people got burned in GameStop and people got burned over here. And I mean, we've had lots of speculative bubbles before. usually these things fix themselves. They don't need regulation. I mean, we have Andrew Ross Sorkin advocating for a financial transaction tax. He is a big voice. This would be a big mistake because it would not curb speculation. It would only hurt liquidity in the market.
Sure.
And like I said, the regulators would realize quickly that they need to have liquidity, so they'd give a market maker exemption. So the only people that would be paying it would be the little guy. So make sure if this does start to get traction, you reach out to your representative and say, look, this is, something that's going to hurt my bottom line, 0.1%. Like we said, a $10,000 transaction is going to cost you $10 in and $10 out. A $100,000 transaction, $100 and $100 out. All the work we've done for the last 25 years would be undone by that bill. All the work of getting commissions down to zero, getting trading cheaper for everyone to do, would be undone by that bill. So I hope that regulators wouldn't be that dumb to go through with it, but these proposals are coming, and the speculative bubble is bad timing for that proposal coming down the pipe. So just be careful.
All right.
Hopefully, Vlad, though, we don't know for sure, but hopefully he's on our side.
All right.
So I think he is.
All right. S&P's just creeping higher here. We're off the high of the pre-market session, 1850. Currently trading at 39.17. Spencer, do you want to cover some earnings stocks, or we don't talk ratings changes?
Do you even
anymore?
care about
Do we
earnings?
care about? Wait, here's one thing I wanted to say
Yeah,
though. About the FOMO market that we seem to be in, and this is sort of how plays into how different social platforms can influence behavior. So, there's a lot of stock market discussion on Twitter, obviously, right? But it's decentralized, right? If you were to tell someone, hey, go on Twitter and find where they're talking about penny stocks and find where everyone's talking about how much money they made, it would be hard to do unless you knew what you were looking for on Twitter, right? Reddit is a much more centralized platform. The conversation happens in one place.
Yeah.
Well, the Wall Street Bets community 6 months ago probably had, I don't know, 300, 400,000 subscribers at the most.
Mm-hmm.
It's got 9 million now. Yeah. 9 million subscribers. And every day there are people posting screenshots of their massive gains. Yesterday there was a guy who posted a screenshot of his toe rate call options that he's up like 1,000% in. And every day there's these screenshots of I'm rich now, right? It's 50 of them a day. And it's hard. It's hard to look at that and not think, oh my God, like that could be me. Why can't that be me? Yeah, It's so hard not to, and it's a psychological thing. It's human nature, and we're all guilty. We're all susceptible to this, of getting swept up in that feeling like, oh, I could do it. If he did it, I could do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's definitely a factor here. Is the rise of Reddit as a platform to talk about stocks. Not that it wasn't there before. There's a bunch of places on Reddit where you can talk about this sort of things. There's different subreddits. There's the stocks subreddit. There's investing. There's a bunch of them, and I'm in all of them. Trust me. But they've all gotten bigger and like really big in the last month or 2 or 3. And I think that's a factor here because it's just every day there's more, and they call it gain porn, right? It's just gain porn. People just posting their gains, and yeah, it's just I think that's a factor.
How many people are posting their losses though? From
some people, no, I mean they do. They do on Wall Street Bets.
I'll tell you one thing. I've looked, not just Wall Street Bets, but you look at like these different Twitter accounts that are obviously pumping stocks as well. And I don't see a lot of losses. I mean, maybe everybody is winning, but I just look at stocks like GameStop, and I think there was a lot of losers there too. So, I mean, everybody's going to naturally gravitate to look how much money that person made on GameStop. That could be me. But there's also that person that bought it at $480 and $400 and $350 and $300 and $250 and $200 and $150 and $100 that lost a lot of money here. So, I mean, there's another coin. There's another side of that coin. So, you got to be careful. I'll tell you,
it's called Dogecoin.
I just want to warn everybody that, if you were in the GameStop in the first 5 days, for the big move, you're kicking ass and taking names. It took a lot of heat, and you maybe grew a few gray hairs in there, maybe gave yourself a heart condition because there was some wicked sell-offs even in those first 5 days. But now you're looking at it on the last 6-7 days. and the majority of people lost a lot of money. So you've got to be careful chasing. I mean, you want to play around in these stocks, by all means, go for it. But if you're taking all of your money and putting it in Sanddial or whatever the hell it's called, Sundial, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. And I'm seeing people do it. I mean, you see people call to Jim Cramer, I put all my money in GameStop, or I put all my money in something else. I mean, and there's going to be huge winners. Some people are going to some people, don't kid yourself. Some people got rich. They definitely did. I don't doubt that. But you just got to be careful. You know, it's not my style to try to get rich overnight. It took me a long time to build the wealth that I built. And I don't want to just throw it all on Sundial and watch it all go up in smoke because I timed it wrong. So you've just got to be careful. That's all I mean is you've got to be careful trading these things. Have fun. These are fun to trade with. And yeah, some people are getting rich, but I do believe that, you know, the core strategies here, you know, of just chasing, you know, there's so many rules being broken that eventually it all comes to roost. I don't know when that is. Maybe it does come to roost, just keeps coming to roost in individual stocks, but then they move on to the next one. So now it's pot. So I don't know what the next thing's going to be. If you can get ahead of it, you can make a lot of money though. So, you know, look at it and figure out, you know, this Sundial they were talking about for days before it went. So there was an opportunity here for sure. But at the same time, if you're coming in it now, the person that bought it at $1 a week ago is probably selling to you. So you just got to be careful that you're not the last one holding the bag.
It's a great point. Yeah, Joel had
be careful.
Joel had said there are people learning such bad habits. Yeah, I mean,
everyone. I'm learning bad habits
for sure. We all are.
But maybe these are the habits. I mean, who's to say that this isn't the new market and Reddit's going to control it, and they're not going to give a crap about Amazon going forward, and they're not going to give a crap about, you know, good companies going forward. We're seeing significant sell-offs in good companies. I mean, and obviously anything that's related to a dividend we're seeing sold. I mean, AT&T is sitting right near the lows. Not that it's, you know, Verizon has been selling off for a month here now. You can say, okay, well, that's related to the TLT, but the reason the TLT is selling off here too is that people aren't sitting their money for 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. So that's the trend. I don't know if that trend continues, but if it does, a lot of those stocks, the mega caps, the ones could start selling off as well as people just look to move it into the quick buck. So there's a lot of money hiding in Amazon. There's a lot. I've got Amazon. There's a lot of money hiding in Apple. I've got Apple. Is there, I'm just asking the chat, I'm asking you, is there concern that those stocks could start selling off just like Verizon has, just like the TLT has, as people move out of those crowded mega cap trades?
I think people are running these stocks, Dennis. I think people are running these stocks and they're doing it, you know, I think people are still having their core holdings, but I just think you have a lot
of. If they start dumping those core holdings as well.
If they start dumping, then
to go into these speculative, to go into the speculative mania. Because this isn't an overall stock market bubble. Everybody says we got this big stock market bubble.
No, there's not.
Amazon's not in a bubble. I don't think it is. But that doesn't mean it can't go lower. That doesn't mean I'm talking against my book here a little bit to a certain extent. But I'm actually kind of concerned about, you know, some of the bigger names. I mean, Tesla's selling off here now. You know, like quietly. I had an ugly day yesterday. It's not bouncing much. Been a lot of money made in Tesla.
We don't even talk about Tesla anymore. We hardly talk about Tesla.
That's it. I mean, so are these stocks now susceptible to sell-offs so people can raise capital to throw it into the next penny stock? Maybe there is no more penny stocks, like Spencer says. They got to go into the $1 and $2 stocks now because they've all ran up. But is this possible that there could be continued rotation out of safety and into these high?
I just want to show you this is what we've talked about, right? That purple chart is the IWM. The purple lines are IWM.
Yeah.
SPY and the diamonds, the DIA are down here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the Russell. This is the SPY and the Dow Jones Industrial. So, yeah, small caps.
Is this the small caps time? The small caps have underperformed for a decade.
Years,
and Ron's saying Amazon's still 3,300. That's my point. Is these stocks actually haven't sold off. But people sitting here maybe waiting. Maybe it is. Maybe the small caps continue. Maybe Reddit changes it. I'm just throwing out scenarios. I don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. I'm going to say to you, nobody knows. nobody knows anything except maybe the original people who are on some of these pump and dumps, because they're going to come and pump them where they know which stocks are going to pump. But nobody knows anything. So I just look here and I think, man, Amazon can't rally on good reports. It can't rally, and unless this Reddit community, unless, the speculative bubble bursts quickly and then they're going to fly back into the safety trade, I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon starts selling off like Verizon has, like the TLT has, because people aren't getting rich there. So that I'm actually concerned about that. Those are my thoughts.
Aviator one wants to know.
I'm not laughing. I mean, this is what's going on in the market, right? I mean, you're analyzing it. No one sees it more than you. You're looking at it on a daily basis. I mean,
we don't care about fundamentals. We're going into Bitcoin. I mean, the crypto trade, that money's got to come from somewhere. The money that's sitting in Bitcoin isn't going into Amazon. Last time I saw, you couldn't use Bitcoin to buy Amazon. So you can buy the Amazon with US dollars, but you can't buy with Bitcoin. So
I think you can use a platform like Square to convert it. So
you started to convert it over US dollars to go buy, because I don't see a Bitcoin price on Amazon. Money that's just sitting in Bitcoin is not being used to buy Amazon. Can you give me that?
All right.
All I'm saying is, as money moves into different types of assets and different risk assets, it eventually comes from somewhere else. And if the FOMO continues, I believe you will start actually seeing weakness in the place where everybody has hid for the last 10 years, which is the mega caps. Despite, not trading at crazy valuations, it makes me nervous on the overall market. You could see a market that could start selling off, but you could see a penny stock market that continues to outperform, or an IWM that outperforms. Maybe this is just the small caps time. So maybe that's a good thing, the rotation. I'm just asking because I'm heavily in mega caps. They've been rewarded to be there for a long time. But maybe it's time to start adjusting a bit and not saying, just not being all in on Amazon and Apple and Google and Microsoft and those top 10 components, because maybe they get left behind in this if this party continues. That's my concern.
It's a real concern. All right, 8:27. We're gonna have Buck Andrews on in about 8 minutes or so. Let's get to some individual stocks though, because we've been talking about this for 20 minutes, a little more. Let's bring on some charts and let's talk some individual names. Should we start with
Uber?
With Uber? Yeah, Uber had earnings last night. Let's give you those numbers here. Q4 earnings per share. Uber. You know what? Why don't I do this? Let me just show you what I'm looking at in Benzinga Pro. You can read what I'm reading here. So Uber, Q4 EPS, 54-cent loss, beat the estimate by a penny. Sales, 3.2 versus $3.58 billion. Q4 gross bookings grew 16% sequentially, quarter over quarter, down 5% year over year. Gross bookings up 130% year over year. They talked about Uber Eats. There we go. You see members reached 5 million in Q4. How is the stock doing, Joel?
We're down 74 cents, had a little spike up to 64, then kind of changed their mind on it, but found support just under 60. Trading down 74 cents, as I said. Let's see what happens at the close. Let's see if we can get green on this. We saw what they did to Lyft yesterday, but on an earnings day, a stock before the actual report, it makes a new all-time high. All-time high 63.50, and that was up near the close. So definite more significance to that actual close, but keep an eye 63.18, 63.50 if you really want to see this thing rip. Coming on the downside, looks like it's been bid pretty well since that 4 a.m. open. So for now, it looks like that pre-market low of 59.91 is safe.
I don't have any comments on it. Uber's making new highs. I don't short stocks making new highs. Yes, we pulled back a buck or two, but I mean, this is a stock that's got momentum. It's, the opposite of what I was talking about, the old, the big mega caps. It's still got the growth. It's still got a story. So dip probably gets bought in something like this.
What about iRobot? This one's a mover on its earnings reports. It tends to really move.
It's a volatile stock.
Well, because they were squeezing it. So they're not squeezing it anymore. But one concern is there's a lot of people who got caught in this. So as you get up, you do have some overhead supply issues here now. I like the prospects here. I like the story. I had this stock at one time, but I mean, it went parabolic there. It went to 109.
I mean, they just reported they just gave some amazing numbers here, just to tell you what they were.
Yeah, sure.
EPS for the fourth quarter, 84 cents versus a 31-cent estimate. Big beat. Sales of $544 million versus $494 million estimate. So they beat that number as well. They gave some fantastic EPS guidance for the year. EPS guidance they gave in the low $3 range versus a $2.19. So they basically beat they came in with EPS guidance for the year $1 above the estimate. Sales guidance was also well above estimates, $1.6 billion in that range versus a $1.4 billion estimate. So they came in way above estimates for the quarter and on their guidance for fiscal year guidance for the EPS and sales. So just blew it away.
Dennis alluded to some overhead and supply in this when he got nearly to $200 and then came right back in, almost a uninitiated 2-for-1 stock split in 3 or 4 days. So you did get that pop over 150, 150.98, January 28th high. In the after hours, you got the 150.187. But when you pull back $20 off that, I think, or over $20, I think you got to have to pick some intermediate levels. In the meantime, pretty hard when you have that back off like that. Maybe a little, some other people, more people are caught long now. So IRobot, let's see.
It's not
here.
as easy
You had
as
a
it was
high.
not.
No, yeah. There's a little bit of overhead supply. I mean,
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Still up, still trading up $10 up.
Hey, remember when we used to care about initial jobless claims?
No.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah, it was long. It was last year.
Remember when we used to care about economic data? It's been a long time.
Anyway, jobless claims just came out, in case anyone cares.
Yeah, give it to us. Give it to us, please.
793,000 jobless claims filed for the week of February 5th. That was more than economists were expecting. They were expecting 757,000, so 793 versus 757. Prior week's reading was 779, so more people filing for unemployment last week than the previous week. And yeah, that's that.
I know nothing about the economy. I just trade Momo. Yeah.
Hey, maybe that's the way. This is the way, Dennis. This is the way.
This is the way. That's right from Mandalorian. This is the way.
Yeah.
This is the new way.
All right. 832, smash that like button. Wolf Buck Andrews on in just a second here. Gosh, there's so
couple more stocks. Zynga reported last night the dip quickly.
Yeah.
But again, I still think this could get taken out, so that's why I stick with it here. I mean, I think people buy the dip last night on the earnings quickly because there is speculation that Zynga could be a takeout candidate now that Glue Mobile went off the board. So I'm sticking with that. What were the earnings though?
They were. Let me see here. Let me see if I can get in a real adjusted number, a real estimate for Zynga. Going to the calendar here. EPS was in line at 9 cents. Revenue was a slight beat. Just under $700 million in revenue, which was a smidge above the estimate there. So good earnings report. What they say about guidance? Did they say anything? They gave Q1 sales guidance. That was a smidge on the light side. Yeah.
We talked about this on the at the close show, kind of with kind of like a hidden bid under this after.
I think so.
Yeah, after the takeout of Glue Mobile, right here, you're knocking on the door, folks. You actually already opened the door off the headline number. You broke, but then you came back up, hit 1189. But looking at the pair of highs on the upper right hand chart here, 1149, 1158. So we're already trading above the top of yesterday's range.
Next.
That was pretty much. I mean, as far as earnings, like that really was it. There's a couple more, but they're not interesting. Like Pepsi is this morning, and like AstraZeneca and Kraft Heinz and Kellogg's, and we don't really care.
Okay, all those earnings, Kellogg's, Pepsi. If there's a pop in any of those things, I think you sell it because they don't want these stocks. You have to just realize the environment you're in. It matters more than anything.
Yeah.
So you've seen the weakness. Coca-Cola had a great report. It didn't matter. You know why? because nobody wants their money in Coke right now. That matters. I mean, it matters. So this is just trading opportunities for you. I mean, you get a pop in Kraft Heinz here, you get a pop in Duke Energy, you get a pop in Pepsi. If you get the pop in them, even without looking at them, I think they're all selling opportunities. So until we start, getting the FOMO not running so rampant, I think all those stocks are sells on any strength.
Maybe a stock like Sonos is the opposite, right?
Well, that's the opposite. That's got a story.
Right.
That's sexy. That's making new highs. I had this. I thought it got overdone. We bought it when Andrew Leff came on the show at $13. He said he thought eventually somebody takes it out. Well, stock doubled to 20. I sold my last shares, I think, at $28 or $29. It was a good trade. I was in it for 3 months. Double your money, and you're regretting it because it's 37 now. I mean, every time you have these smaller names, they just continue to go. So it's the momentum market. If the momentum starts going, I mean, it's you got the right stock and the momentum's on your side. These stocks go a lot further than you think that they should.
Blaze in the chat just asked if I know when weed's going to be legalized. Blaze, if I knew that, I wouldn't need to work here. Okay, I have no idea. You've got firms. I think it was Cantor Fitzgerald said yesterday that they don't expect it for like several years. So no one knows. I wish I knew. Anyway, all right.
Does it matter?
The weed
really
stocks.
matter?
Let's go talk the weed stocks really quickly before we get Buck.
Yeah, all right.
They've all went red.
Yeah.
So we started the show. Tilray is $73. It's 61. These things are so wild. Again, who knows? The next wave could come in, but I mean, they're going like this. So now you got a little wave down. Is this a buying opportunity for the next wave up? Well, you just don't know. You don't know if it's topped out or not. I mean, but they were all green big time here this morning. We got Canopy now turned red. Like this is a huge turn since 30 minutes ago. Tilray,
whoa, Nelly.
ACB was way up and had earnings. Afriaz is still trying to hold green. I mean, across the board, you're looking even at MJ, you just want to see, and it's giving it all back. These things were up huge this morning. Where was Tilray this morning? Where was TL?
It's actually the entire trade because you look at like the chats all over this too, like Sundial in the last half hour, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was almost 5. Now it's 4. I mean, this is
half hour.
What these things do.
Yeah.
So they don't go. None of these moves in GameStop were straight up moves. You had to take.
No way.
You had to take major heat. That thing hit 157, then it hit 60. I mean, you got major heat. These are not for, just, I guess if you're just closing your eyes and you say it's eventually going to go there and you throw out your price target, you might eventually get it. But, I mean, it's not smooth sailing. And at the end of the day these all look like GameStop in a week. So, where do they top out? Does Tilray go to 100, 150? Or does it go straight back down to 25, 30 eventually? I think it eventually goes back down to 25, 30, but I don't know the path to get there. So I can't short it because it could go to 100 or 150. But if you stick in your long-term portfolio at 62 or 65 or 68, I think if you hold it longer than a month, you're probably going to lose money. That's my thoughts. So, but right now, I mean, they're wild. These stocks are really, really wild.
All right, let's get our guest on here, Buck Andrews. Let's see how he's approaching this market. Buck is the co-founder of Inform. Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you agreeing or disagreeing with our sentiment here this morning that we should just throw everything we know out the window and just buy penny stocks?
No, it's the market's rotated. I heard some earlier conversation about Amazon and whatnot, but there's been since the beginning of the year a rotation towards small cap stocks, right? And so then you've got the stuff like that happened earlier with GameStop and that kind of stuff. But the way that I'm approaching the market right now is I've really got 3 segments that I'm looking at. And we've actually laid those out in our platform. What's very interesting, it's definitely a momentum market. And for instance, Spence, I don't know if you can show this or if you want me to show it. I'm looking at, we've put together lists. I've got a Bitcoin stock list. And if you look at, the first time that we came on, we discussed MARA, Marathon Patent Group. And I said that that as Bitcoin goes up, there it is. So look at Bitcoin today, for instance, the BTC. Now go back to where you were.
I just zoomed in a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Now go back to the pricing section right there. Just stop right there. All right. See Bitcoin BTC up 7.3%. Now look at the leverage that these stocks are getting off of that Bitcoin move. Look how much these stocks are off.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is we've got, if you notice over here, I've got the ARK ads on the right. I've got Bitcoin and I've got my growth group. So these are the three areas that I'm playing. I play the Bitcoin stocks. When I think it's a commodity play, but it's like a leveraged commodity play, and you can play it small. You don't have to buy as much. So I'm playing these to the long side as I see Bitcoin come in and settle. I buy these stocks. I've got a growth portfolio right there that you can see all the growth stocks, which in our growth portfolio,
fast market,
you have to have a requirement of having at least 30% growth, and it's a long-term investment. 3 to 5 years out, these companies will perform fantastically. Over 3 to 5 years. So I sprinkle in some of that, and then I've got my ARK funds.
Yeah, let's talk about this. You're tracking which funds the ARK group is buying. Is that it?
Yeah. So what we do is, these are the three things that we're throwing up there, and we're throwing them up there because we think these are three areas that people can invest in and make money, right? And if you just invested in these three areas, this growth, this ARK ads, and this Bitcoin, you're going to make some money, and you're going to make good money. And you're going to be taking advantage of the leverage and the momentum and the cryptos. You're also going to be taking advantage of the ARK funds and what they're coming in and out of, and then the growth. I'm a technology growth investor, so these three segments right here, or sectors that we've created, will change a little bit here and there, but not that much. And so what we're doing is we're using the AI. When we get the ARK newsletter now, we're filtering through the newsletter, and the stocks that they're adding, we put into our ARK sector, right? So our ARK ads. That's ARK ads right now. It should be ARK trading. We're changing it to ARK trading.
Okay.
But it'll be the same thing. So as they post their newsletters, it gets posted up here automatically what they're adding or what they're trading to the buying. Collecting. We don't put the cells in there. I mean, eventually we could do our cells.
Yeah. Why not?
Nobody cares about the cells.
No one cares?
because think of this. For instance, look at pin interest today. They were selling pin interest like a few days ago or last week or something.
I don't care.
And look what it's doing today. So when you see cells, they may be taking down a position because it's grown too big.
Exactly.
Like you'll see them selling Tesla occasionally because they're trimming back a position. So a sell doesn't necessarily mean that
not necessarily a bad thing. Asset allocation, re-asset allocation.
So much that they're trimming back, but adding a new position means that they're taking a bet, right? And if they're taking a bet, they're taking a bet for a reason.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that you're tracking, because we just read the emails every day, but I'm at least not really writing anything down. I'm just going from memory. Dennis writes them down on his notepad, but you're actually tracking them, and we can see the performance there, which is super interesting. So you're still doing what you're doing, right? You're still going, for the growth names, which is working for you, right?
Well, look at Mara. I think the first day I was on, I suggested Mara at $17.
When's the part? Do you think Mars is going to continue to go though? Do you think this just continues?
I mean, go back to that Bitcoin sector and look at the performance of these things today with the move in Bitcoin.
Yeah, but looking at the past performance is not always indicative of what the future performance is going to look like.
Yeah, but Bitcoin.
We mentioned Mara on this show at $3 in November. Now it's 38, so it's up 1,200% in 3 months. Is it going up another 1,200% from here? I'm just asking because, you can look and you can say, wow, that's been, an unbelievable performer for you and for a lot of investors there. But is the party going to continue here forever?
If Bitcoin goes up, the party continues.
Yeah, that's it, right? If Bitcoin keeps going up, these are going to go with it.
It is a leveraged play on the commodity Bitcoin.
That's reasonable, right? You're betting on Bitcoin. That's a reasonable assumption to make.
It's a way to bet on Bitcoin without having to buy Bitcoin outright and get a leverage play on it. And the more the Bitcoin goes up, the more leverage these stocks get. I mean, look at as I said, look at the performance today that they're getting versus the actual Bitcoin. I mean, they're up like 3 times, 3x some of them, 2x, 3x. They're times Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is I heard somebody describing this the other day. It's I think the most interesting thing I heard. They said it is a scarce commodity, and it will run out in 2004, 2005, right? And then people will start using it as a currency. And I know you said that Amazon doesn't today take Bitcoin, but does that mean they won't in the future? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you see companies like MicroStrategy shifting their balance sheet. Whoops. Sorry, I've got my. You see companies like MicroStrategy, shifting their balance sheet to Bitcoin, and look what it's done to that stock. You had Tesla, shifting part of their balance sheet to Bitcoin. I think this will continue.
Buck, can we talk about some of the trades you've been making?
It's not going to end.
Can we talk about some of the trades you've been making? You mentioned the TLT. You're actively trading that, right?
I got out of the TLT.
Okay.
I had a trade on in the TLT, and when we had that inflation number 2 days ago, I took that position off.
Okay.
So it was the inflation number was lower inflation than expected and than anticipated, and I took a profit in it and didn't feel like sitting on something. I'm not sure about that one. I'm pretty sure Bitcoin's going higher. So I play in the areas that I'm sure about.
I'm long it. I think it's going higher too. I wouldn't buy Mara because as
I said, I buy Mara.
But if I think Bitcoin's going higher, you can buy Mara and you can think, okay, I'm going to triple my money. But there could be a disconnect here eventually too. So just because it's obviously a likely play that Bitcoin goes to 100,000, Mara is probably going to be higher there too. But I mean, there's lots. I don't know, like this company. Maybe I should look into more fundamentally. I mean, I talked about it $3. We knew it was a Bitcoin play, but I mean, a lot of these trades. I mean, Bitcoin is up 100%. This is up 1,000%. So is it 10 times? Is it going to continue 10?
It gets back to what I said earlier on an earlier show, is that these are a leveraged play on the upward movement of Bitcoin. These guys break even at around $7,000. When Bitcoin is trading around $7,000, there will be more people coming into the market, but it takes them a while to get there. Mm-hmm. So at $7,000 in Bitcoin, everything above that, is profit. And as they go higher, I mean, you get moves that are going $2,000, $3,000 a crack today. The leverage on that could be pretty significant, and that's what I thought would happen. I wasn't sure the first time I came on, but I'm pretty sure now. I'm getting more sure about it. So I would not trade these stocks except up. When Bitcoin comes down and makes a base and you're thinking about buying Bitcoin, you turn around and buy these stocks.
That's a good call on the dips. I mean, that's been the opportunity there.
You buy them on the dips, you take half off, buy the next dip, take half off, build a position in Bitcoin is what you're doing.
Buck, anything else? Any other trades that you made last week? Trades you put on, trades you took off?
Bill.com, BILL.
Okay.
I love that stock. It had great earnings numbers. It just came public not too long ago, so I think it's got a long cycle here of growth. I would buy that on any dip. I waited for the pullback after the last earnings, and I bought it a couple of days ago. Started building a position in it. Twilio, same thing. You see Twilio pulled back. That's a long-term position for growth investors. Any young investor that puts money in those two for the next 3 to 5 years will be very pleased.
All right. Appreciate the time. Buck Andrews, as I said, is the co-founder of Inform. You go to inform.info to learn more. Thanks a lot, Buck.
Yeah, thank you, Spencer.
All right.
See you guys.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. All right. 8:49. Got about 10 minutes left in today's in today's show. Guys, what's on your mind? You want to go to the chat? We can do. Let's do some ticker time.
Stock sell-off is incredible here.
Let's see which one. What do we want to look at? Tilray?
All of them.
All of them.
It is a pretty major sell-off there, but again, it's just the volatility. So, like Buck says, if you think they're going higher, you want to be buying the dips. I'm not touching any of this stuff because I've been through speculative bubbles before, and it ends in tears. So, again, It's not my style. If you're coming here trying to get the next penny stock, trying to get rich, it's not me. That's not me. I'm trying to have core strategies, base hits, base hits, base hits. I can't control the risk on Tilray. I can't control the risk on Afria. You can say, oh yeah, you can. You just put a stop. Where the hell on GameStop were you putting a stop? That went from 157 to 60. Where was your stop? I mean, if you had that at 150 and you wrote it down to 60, you weren't doing any risk management whatsoever. Sorry. You got lucky that I had another wave up. But you've got to be careful when you're trading. I mean, it's risk management. 21 years or, where I've, been successful and made money every single year was not because of how much money I was making. It was because how much little I was losing on my losers. I can't control the risk in this. People don't want to hear that. They're all pissed off because they want to hear that, yeah, let's talk this next big stock. Let's get Bitcoin to 1 million. I'm long Bitcoin. Sure, I hope it goes to 1 million. But again, it's speculative capital. I'm not going all in. I mean, these Maras and stuff, they look awesome, but it's up big, man. I mean, 3 to 37. Could it go to 100? Sure, it could. It might. If Bitcoin goes to 100,000, it probably does. But again, how do I control the risk on that? I mean, just Joel, talk technicals on a Afria right now. Talk it. I mean, where is your out? I mean, this was $15 5 days ago. So where are you stopping yourself out if you're wrong? I think the majority of people who are trading making money on this aren't using any stops. I honestly, I don't know how.
Well, the thing is what you're talking about is that you can do it once sometimes, and you can do it twice, and you can get 3 times, and you can get away with it. What you're alluding to is like you go in that 4th time, right, and you get caught. You get caught in one of these moves or a halt, or it doesn't come back. What the scraps that you picked up along the lines, that one trade can wipe all that out and more. So it's hard. I mean, it's some momentum, when it's going up, you don't want to sell when it's going up, right? But when it's going down, if you are good at these things and you're trading these and taking your targets and doing things of that nature. But, Triple, I mean, I can't argue with anything that you're saying, Dennis. I mean, we are just trying to give people our perspective on the market.
I'm not trying to get perspective on the market. I'm trying to teach people risk management and how to, trade as a career, not just get rich during speculative times. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. Perspective on the market. I don't know where the hell anything's going. Who the hell knows? We don't know when the top's going to be in. We can try. We can do our best to give technicals. We can do our best to look at a chart and try to give a setup. But, I mean, there's a lot of people, crowded trades everywhere here. You don't know. So all I try to do is stay diversified in my trading. I try to use good risk management tactics. And I try to hit base hits and try to make money every day. And, some days you're going to make money. Some days you're not going to make money. But, out of all, I just look back in my trading career, and it depends what you want. It depends what you want. If you want to get rich fast and you want to go all in and you're a gambler, go for it, man. That's you. But that's not me. That's not me. That's not, and I don't think, like, we've been, we have a lot of experience seeing this. For the simple reasons we're a prop firm. You've seen people, how many traders, Joel, you ran the Bright Trading Office. We ran in 1999. You see so many people coming in and piling in, and they're like buying every dip, and they're just doing so well until March 2000 comes around, and then half the office is gone because those half of people didn't use stops. They didn't use risk management techniques, and they all blew out their accounts. I mean, that's, what this game keeps you longevity is about risk management. I just cannot control the risk in this stuff. That's why, can I go in there for fun? And again, this is why I like to get on the train before it's moving. So like the sundial, they were talking about that for weeks, that Zach Morris guy on Twitter there. He was been talking about this, for the last 2 weeks. So now it's $3.94. It was 50 cents. We have dreams it's going to go to $30. But in all likelihood, it's probably not. And, this is a very, this is a huge move. This is like the time where those people who are buying at 50 cents and 60 cents and 70 cents are making the money. This is like the day 8, 9, 10, where these things usually are now seeing some upside capitulation. Could have another big day. Could it go to $10? It could. We don't know that. But just coming in here and buying it now and say, I'm going in on this is going to 10. You could get stuck with the next, like Tilray to 300 to 2. Or you could get stuck with the GameStop from 480 to 50. So just be careful. Be careful.
And this is also why it's hard for me to feel sympathy for people who are railing, who are angry about GameStop and the way that whole thing went down with the brokerage platforms and the blocking of the trading and saying the market is rigged. Well, maybe you're right, but honestly, if you had GameStop at 400 or 450 or the all-time high or the high at 483, and you held it, you rode it all the way down, and now you're stuck here at 51. I can't feel sorry for you. I'm sorry. Obviously. I'm sorry. Maybe you're right. The market is rigged. Yeah, but I'm sorry. If you rode it all the way down and you didn't sell when you're up 10,000%, I'm sorry. I can't feel bad for you. I can't feel bad for you.
Or if you're coming in at the last minute and you came in for the first time at 450 and you're like, now it's 50 and I got burned. I mean, you got caught up in the FOMO. Again, you're jumping on a moving train that's moving so quickly. It's difficult to not fall under the tracks. So if you're in these things before they start moving, great. I mean, that's great. That's the way to trade. It's like I like to get on the trains before they start moving. You can trade anything as long as you can control the risk. I don't know how. If you can teach me how to control the risk on SNDL when it's trading 380 and say, I'm going to stop myself out at 350, you're probably going to get stopped out then, because the thing's trading wild. So, I mean, and then it gets down to 350. Do you really stop yourself out? Do you say, oh, it's going to come back? If you say, I think, it'll come back. I mean, as soon as you say that, you're in trouble. So, and then a lot of times they do. Remember our buddy Carl, we won't say the last name, but he doubled down everything. Double down, double down, double down. I mean, flash crash 2010, and you got trouble. So, I mean, these things do happen. So you have to be prepared for, that sometimes your stock doesn't come back. Sometimes GameStop might not come back. And this market has been bag holder bailout city where all the years of losses have come back for a lot of companies. That's unbelievable. That's an unbelievable gift. Tim Seymour was saying it yesterday on Tilray. This is a gift. He's like, I sold, he's got the Cannabis fund. He's like, I was selling Tilray yesterday because it's just gotten ridiculous, and this is a gift. I mean, you've got to take the gifts when the market gives them to you. It's awesome to be in long these stocks when they're going straight up. But if you get greedy and you hold on too long, eventually the market will take the gains away for you. So just be careful if you're trading this stuff. That's all I'm trying to do. I don't want people to lose money.
And if you do, post about it on Wall Street Bets so we can laugh at you. Are you watching any earnings plays? We got Disney tonight. We got Aurora tonight. ACB. So Cannabis is going to be.
Oh, it's ACB tonight. Okay.
Yeah, buddy. Keep it on your radar.
It all's going to depend. So if you're going to trade the ACB earnings, it's going to depend what the overall sector is doing. If the sector goes into the gutter today and goes into that report, a pop would be sold. If the sector rip and rally, then a dip would be bought. So that's how I trade, and I do trade stuff like that, where you've got the sector, you trade the stocks against each other. That's the nice thing about the pot stocks; you can trade them against each other. But when the sector is smoking hot, then the dips are to be bought. But we don't know, because there's a lot of time between now and 4 o'clock. Where is the pot sector going to be? It was smoking hot an hour ago. Now it's ice cold. Is it going to be smoking hot by the close? Nobody knows. But if it is, then I would be buying a dip on Aurora Cannabis. If it's ice cold, then I would be selling a rip on Aurora Cannabis. So going up, if it moves the opposite way, if it moves the direction, there's no trade. If it moves the opposite way of where the sector is going, then there might be a trade. So that's, that's how I approach those.
All right, 8:58 here. Everyone, smash that like button. Hit the like. Jason was in here earlier telling you all to do that for us. I'm the good cop. He's the bad cop. But hit that like button. We appreciate that. You guys Joel? You want to stay down and do some ticker time? We haven't done ticker time for like a few days on this show. I feel like the chat's been dropping tickers, and we've been sort of doing our own thing. But I would love to hit on some if you have time. The Bumble IPO is today. BMBL will be the ticker. We don't really talk IPOs on this show because there's really no trading action to go off of or to speak of. So we wouldn't really have an opinion on that. But I would love to hit some tickers from the chat. Let's see if we can get to here. And then now they're all
We
coming
can do
in.
a few. Let's do.
Now
Let's
they're
do,
all coming in. Yeah.
They coming in fast.
Yeah. What do you got?
Let's do 5, and
Sure.
just check to see if there's news on any of them, because that is that's always a relevant thing in this market.
It is. Okay. All right. Here's one who I looked at only one time yesterday. CLOV. Clover.
Oh, Clover. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that has a story behind it. It has the short seller, and then it has obvious the big backer in there. It's just digesting. It had the short sell report. I had 13 as a level, because you had 3 highs in that area. You snuck through it 2 days ago. But now you're back below it. I think it's just consolidating here. I mean, you got 3 lows in the same area that you have to respect. You're trading down 8 cents at 12.42. Don't see a current catalyst for it. But if you split those 3 lows, let's just call it 12 and a quarter. Looks like you're holding up now, but still looks kind of range bound, and see how it handles that short. I know there's already been responses going back and forth, but this doesn't seem like there's this interest. I know it's back. It was hot, but it doesn't look like people are interested in it right now. Long or short.
Yeah. Jason's in the chat. Yes, Jason. You're the bad cop. You're the guy
Jason
that comes in. No, he's not the bad cop. All right, fine.
Who's the bad cop? You said good cop, bad cop.
I'm gonna. Yeah, I thought I was the good cop. He was the. I guess maybe. I'm gonna get crap for that later today. Okay. What about Palantir? I saw that.
Okay, that's a stock with a story too, right?
Yeah.
It's been doing well since the IPO. Palantir. Whew, you haven't seen. Well, I guess if you go back a couple weeks, you did have a period of consolidation. We could get rid of this support line because it's quite a ways from it. Trading up 40 cents. The only significant thing here is 2 highs in the same area, and you backed off 38.24, 38.26. So I think you have a seller there. You ended up near the low of the session at 35. You got a little bounce. It's green for now. I think if it goes red, 35.70, I think you better be prepared for a little trip down to 35. And I think now, after sellers came down from 39.22 on Monday, 38.26, 38.24, I think you find sellers in that area again.
Ryan Fink, how about NVIDIA instead of all these garbage companies?
NVIDIA.
I've been wondering, why shouldn't we just start buying blindly all of the semiconductors? If there really is such this great shortage of semiconductors and they cannot keep up with demand, why not just close your eyes and buy AMD, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, et cetera, et cetera?
We talked about this a few days ago. It's working its way up to an all-time high and did that, right? So hard to be bearish to stock. You're trading above yesterday's high. Yesterday's high was 596.20, and the close was down at 590.57. I think they already had earnings, correct? They already had their earnings report. I mean, another reason too, I'm not sure, but the other thing, and we talked about this before, is like, what if they do a split? What if they do a 6-for-1 or something? You saw the way it's been, that trade's been kind of quiet after the Apple and Tesla. But when I look at these stocks trading at these levels right now, since you're trading above the all-time high from yesterday, your old resistance is going to be new support. And you had a pre-market high right almost 605 cents. It hit that just after 5:30 this morning. So there is your pre-market high for a target NVDA. And
just to correct you on that, they report on the 24th after the close. So they're always later on in the season. So no earnings from NVIDIA yet. We'll do like 1 or 2 more. The semis are juicy. Someone mentioned Dominion Energy. Let's give some love to the utilities. Let's look at D. Ticker D.
D.
Yeah.
D.
Because I think they have earnings coming up. That's
that stock.
It's tomorrow.
It got. How long ago did it get hit when they did? Well, obviously it got hit in March, like everything else. I mean, is this where people want to be? They want to be in Dominion.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Did?
about.
Yeah.
You're talking about no, never mind. No, I don't
They
know.
sold part of their company or something.
That was March.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's 74.
Yeah, 2018, right? The early 2018. I don't know.
I don't think anybody 72 to 74. That's been your range since the end of last year. So if you're trading a range, but once again, Dennis talked about people aren't interested in stocks like this. And this is just a great example. I don't even know what the dividend is on it, but 72, 74 has been the trading range on that one.
Yeah.
Hey, one more and we can wrap up.
Everyone's saying no one cares about these stocks. Well, somebody asked about it. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. No,
somebody asked about it. Therefore, somebody does care.
Yes,
and
right.
I'm all about giving love to the stocks that don't get a lot of love or at least attention.
OCGN, we'll do that one, and then
fine. We'll end it on a chaotic note.
Yeah, why not? I mean, that had the crazy news, right? And
yep.
The offering and above, and they took it up, they took it down. I don't know where the official offering price is, but you got to be careful on this one because that gap up on that day was at 913. You closed at 10.25 yesterday, so support is support until it's broken. But just where are you going to go? Where are you going to hide if this takes out 913? Gap down to 590, and then also on these days, folks, when I'll just end it with one little thing, one tip. I mean, you went from 88 million or 68 million, and you went 364 million, and then the day that it had the huge move, 719 million traded. So you're thinking, okay, and you're gonna need some more buyers, right, to keep this thing going. You're gonna need some heavy volume on that day. Volume dropped off to 153 million, and the next day, and then 83 million. So, just when they have those high volume days, you want to see it continue, or else you lose your buyers, and stock goes back down. 913.
Joe, you asked where to go from here. You go straight to the offering price of $7.65. It's going to be the ceiling. I don't know. I'm making that up.
Oh, the floor. It would be the floor.
The floor. That's what I meant. Sorry. No. The ceiling, because it's going to go under that, and then I don't.
Oh, then it's going to be resistance.
Yeah.
Good call, Spencer.
So yeah, right. So the offering price was $7.65. It was above the previous day's close of 5.25. And I said this yesterday, but let this be a lesson to all. Even if they do an offering above the market, don't be that guy that's chasing it up.
Correct.
100 and whatever it was, 30% at $18, and that's a recipe for disaster. But somebody bought it there anyway. All right, that's going to be a wrap for pre-market prep today. I want to remind you all that this show is available as a podcast, and for all you podcast listeners, please remember that all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes, not for investing or trading advice. Thanks again to our guest Buck Andrews. Today's show is sponsored by Inform. Go to inform.info to learn more about that platform. Thanks a lot to Joel Elconin. That's a wrap, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot.